What did the crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him? Her. Told me she has a crush on my brother. I'm sorry, Luigi. It just wasn't meant to be. Your princess is in another castle. Your tower belongs in another princess. My brother and I look exactly the same. It's difficult even for our parents to tell us apart. One day this girl came up to me after seeing my bro and said he's cute. I mentioned we look the same. She said I'm ugly. This is me as well. My brother and I look incredibly similar in the face, but I'm sicklier and more asymmetrical from having a lot of medical problems as a kid. The difference in attractiveness ends up being monumental based on the small details. We're extremely similar as people as well, and yet most girls find him good looking, while most girls find me weird looking. This guy that I'd been talking to for a while on Tinder who I thought was cool, cute, but he never seemed down to meet up. One time he randomly messaged me to say he'd gone over to someone's place and they'd had sex 3 times. I think he was trying to make me jealous, but it just made me feel a bit gross. I've never understood this. If you're trying to make someone jealous, which let's face it you shouldn't be doing anyway, go with something simple like someone was flirting hard with me and I kind of enjoyed it. Basically saying hey I'm into you, but met this chick, guy and we banged would just make me think okay so they aren't that into me then and gross. You can have them then I'm freaking out. Those are the same guys who are so insecure with themselves, they'll make sure their friends know if they got lucky with some exaggerated details. I had known this guy for a few weeks and finally had a date at his to cook me dinner. Texted him a couple days before to say hi and asked him how his day was. He told me it was great because he had morning X, then a good day at work, then a date and X with a totally different person. On the one hand, thanks for making it easy for me to dump you, and on the other hand, maybe work on not being a 100% AOLA. It's just always super painful to learn about when people were pursuing have X with others. Even if it's someone that you're already over, the fact that they frick other people just puts such weird thoughts in your mind. My friend started dating my ex. She had him ask me for a condom once at a party, knowing I didn't carry condoms since we had just finished dating for several months. We are no longer friends. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me doesn't her name go to your school? Well, crap. I grew up in a small town and one of my friends was related to everybody. In middle school he told his mother about the new girl he was seeing and she had to break the news to him that he was dating his second cousin. Same. Grew up in a small town and came from a big family. Anytime someone asked me out I asked what their mom's maiden name was as well as their grandmother's, because there was like a 95% chance we were related. I have roughly 200 plus first and second cousins. Dating was a freaking chow to say the least. Freaking a chow. That's how you ended up with so many cousins in the first place. Was crushing on this girl for freaking months. And it turns out at her last apartment she stole $1,500 for coke and abruptly ended the lease, giving her 2 roommates barely any time at all to find new housing, one of which had to move back in with their abusive mother. Dodge a bullet. We were 5, had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. A pancake wedding cake. Brilliant. I wish I had read this before I got married. Legendary 5-year-old move. In his defense, people tend to grow out of stuff like that. Or it turns into a fetish. Acting like a complete donghead, and when I addressed it he said I know I'm an ALA, but I'm really exy like, okay. Suddenly, you're really not exy at all. LOL sounds like something I'd say to my girlfriend ironically for a cheap laugh. If only he was being ironic. Alas, he was not. Found out he was a serial cheater and cheated on his exes with strippers and masseuses. I see we've dated the same man. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. It's a bit different, but I had a moment when I was younger, maybe 15 or so, when I realized that my mum was like this. Anytime she could talk it about someone, she would, and no one would be safe. It would be especially bad at family dinners, almost like her only topic of conversation was talking bad about someone. This was when I realized that I'd probably be reducing contact with her once I'd moved out. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. I went on a date with a guy and he stuck his gum under the table at a bar. What the frick? We were in our early 20s and out of college, working at adult jobs, and this motherfricker couldn't even grab a napkin? Who does that? I was driving with a girl that I liked. We went through the drive-thru and then sat and ate in the car. After she was done, she threw all the packaging out the window. I dropped her off at home and never spoke with her again. Littering is one of the things that I just cannot forgive a person for. It's so unnecessarily and gross. It would be an instant relationship ender. Oh man, that just pulled up a memory of a guy I was on a date with who keyed a random person's car for no reason as we were walking along. Awful. What the frick? What a dong. Going for the I am a bad boy look. Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. That's no way to show appreciation to a funny cat. Not my crush, but someone who had a crush on me, or so I was told. She asked for my birthday, and I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so and straight up said to me I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not crush. Damn dude. LOL. What a dumb reason. My husband is 8 months younger than me, but born the same year. I love making cradle robbing jokes and telling him to respect his elders. He loves making old lady jokes. It's stupid, but it's fun to us. My fiancée is a few months older than me. Her sister is older than her husband, and their mum is older than their dad. There are many jokes made about the women in the family going after younger men. We were out drinking. He got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. Here's a light-hearted one. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular, so naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Game Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were, and thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon, because life is strange. Divorce her. S. He was mean to his mom. Demanded money from her so we could go out, in front of me, and then called his grandma to get some more money so we could go out. So uncomfortable. I hope he wasn't more than 15. We were both like 21. Cringe. Not something that she did, but her breath smelled like it, literally like it. My brother from another mother had this problem. He couldn't understand why girls weren't interested in him. Never took hygiene seriously until his mid-20s. Because he never brushed his teeth, he developed an abscess tooth and let it fester. Customers started complaining and he was sent home from work until he got it fixed. The entire time I drove him to the dentist, I made him stick his head out the open window. It smelled terrible. Dentist gave him a good talking to about how his bad teeth could affect his heart. Soon after, he started showering and brushing his teeth every day. He didn't shower or brush his teeth and he expected women to be like, oh, that's what I like. Based on how many am I the a-hole posts I see from women who ask am I the a-ole for asking my boyfriend to have basic hygiene? How do I ask him to brush his teeth and wipe his ass daily without hurting his feelings? You would be shocked as to how much women will tolerate. It was a teenage crush. He had multiple girlfriends who didn't know about each other. Disloyalty is not cool. Reminds me of that Chinese guy who had an accident and all of girlfriends, 13 I think, showed up at the hospital without knowing each other. Yeah, cheating is bad and all, but when are we allowed to be impressed? 13 girlfriends would be a full-time job even if it wasn't done secretly. It honestly sounds unenjoyable. He asked me to help him hook up with my best friend. Oh, that hurts. She asked me if I wanted to go to a concert with her. Then she wanted me to pay for both tickets that I knew she got for free. Promptly laughed at her and told her she can frick off with some other idiot. It's funny how fast the ugliness on the inside can overcome anything good on the outside. She did me a favor that day. If you invite someone and tell them to pay not only their part, but yours too, there's something wrong. Especially if they were free in the first place. It's literally a scam at that point, rather than just being rude. My friend used to have a crush on this guy, but one day when he was out with her along with a couple of friends, he stole tips off the bar counter and offered her food with it. She refused.